This video demonstrates the use of Sothinks SWF Quicker for creating a flash slideshow animation. We'll be creating the animation that you're seeing on the screen in front of you. And for this project, we're using the graphic interface within Swifter rather than the slideshow wizard template. The wizard template is very capable, and I encourage you to use it wherever possible. However, in this case, we've decided not to use it because we'd like to add this specialized page turning effect that you see, as well as the need to hyperlink each of the slides into more detailed information what's behind them. So for the first step to do in undertaking this project is to go ahead and create the slides externally using a tool such as Photoshop. So I've put together my 8 slides. I've sized them all the same, and then if you can notice that there's the gray lines on the right side, and this is how we generate the page turn look when we get into the tool. So I've got my slides created, and now I go ahead and initiate the process by importing them into the library within Swifter. I'm using that capability. Okay, I've set this up as a new movie, and my slides are 500 by 320, so I'll get that set up as well. I'm going to use a layer for each slide, and each slide is going to be about 5 seconds from start to through the end of its transition effect. So if I go out to the 60 tick and insert a frame, I've created the position for the first slide, and I'll drag my first slide into the viewport. I use the transform location to set the X and Y coordinates appropriately. It's basically looking for the dead center, so I'll use the halfway point plus some overlap for my pages. So I've got the first slide located, and it's ready to go. In fact, I could click on the transition. You'll see the slideshow at this point. So I'll go ahead and continue by adding a second slide. I insert a layer. Now the higher the layer is, the more visible it is. So I'll move my layer down because I'm going to want that slide logically behind the first. I'll come out another 60, insert the frame, and I've got this section here. Now I begin my transition about 1 second before the end of the slide. So if I come in here and I'll convert this particular spot to a blank keyframe, and then come out here and insert my second picture. And as we did before, I'll change the transform to fit the appropriate exact positioning on the screen that I need for that video, for that slide. I'm going to pause the video here and go ahead and do that process for my remaining slides. I'm going to add a layer, go out to the end of the time for that layer, put a frame in, insert a blank keyframe, 12 ticks before the end of the previous slide, and position it that way. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, I've gone in and added all the rest of my slides. To be repetitive, I go to the very end and insert a frame, and then I insert a keyframe at the point where I want the slide to start showing up. So for each slide, I have them showing up in their frame viewpoint. If I, for example, unvisualize layer 8, you'll notice layer 9 is blank here, but then it shows up here. My layer 9 is a special layer. I've used this as the place where I'm going to do the page turn effect to close the book again and start over, so that there's a smooth transition at the very end as well. From a sequencing point of view, the next step is to put the hyperlinks into each of the slides before I add the transition effect, so I only need to put it in one time for each of the individual slides. So we'll do that next, and then do our transition, and we'll have a working slideshow. So I'll see you on the next video. Thanks. This is part 2 of using Sothinks SWF Quicker for creating a flash animation slideshow using the movie capability within the product. What we're going to do in this step is we're going to add the hyperlinks to each of the slides, and then we'll come back and provide the transition effect. So I'm going to go to my layer 1 slide, and I'll start in the first slot. Click on the slide and right mouse to convert it to a symbol. you need to use a button symbol as a way of designating an active item that can have a hyperlink associated with it. So I'll go ahead and use the convert to button symbol, and then I come down below, click the action layer, and I can associate actions with that button. In this case, I'll use the release and then the function get URL and the page that I want this slide to go to when somebody clicks on it. I can test that by clicking the checkbox. It says that's fine. I'm also going to make a copy of it so that I can paste it in when I add it to the other slides. So I go to my next slide. I'll unview the first one to make sure I'm in the right place. Click right mouse click, convert to symbol, make it a button symbol, and add the hyperlink, or the link text, and change it to the page that I want it to go to. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause it here, and I'll do that for the rest of the slides in my slideshow. So I've gone in now and created hyperlinks for all of my pages. It's a good time to test it, and I can test it by using the preview capability. And notice a little hand symbol indicates that I've got the hyperlinks created, and I'll test them once I'm live on the website to make sure that the links are good. Now I want to put my page turn transition effect, and I'll have my slideshow completed. This is where the motion tweens and some of the design capabilities become very powerful and useful. For the first slide, I'm going to start the page turning at about the 43rd frame, and the first thing I do is I'll select that frame, right mouse click, and convert it to a keyframe. The keyframes are the sort of the frames of references between the transitions. Now I'm going to go to the very end, and this slide will stay the same because we haven't started turning the page yet. But now I'll go to the very end and convert this to a keyframe as well. I need to click it again and bring up the transform screen. So I want to transform it to the outcome through the page turning motion. Now I've experimented with it a bit, and I've come up with parameters that I like for doing that, using of x of -10, y of 150, and an angle of -20, and then a new width of 20%. You'll notice the page ends up here in this fashion. But what I can do then is use what is called a motion tween, and I'll create a motion tween between the two frames. And notice the arrow comes into place to show me that's an effect, and you can see the different stages of the page as it turns. And if we go to our review portion, you can see the page turning very nicely. So you use the motion tweens and kind of a starting and ending frame, and then the transform to create image changes from one state to the next. Again, the process is I'll come down to the end of my next frame, click a point to start it to, convert that to a keyframe, come in here and convert the ending picture to a keyframe, select it again so the transform layer is available to me, and then set my new transform parameters. Again, I'm going to pause here, and then I'll resume in just a second once I've done that for all of the slides. I have done that, and now my slideshow is ready for publication, and you can see the page turn effect in the preview. I found that the convert frame to keyframe was by far the simplest way to take the step. So I convert both, change my final transformation, and then create the motion tween. Thanks for watching.